When Jackie filed for divorce from Doug, the entire world was shocked. She demanded $300 million, a sum so huge that it seemed almost unbelievable. People were left wondering how a couple that appeared so happy could end up in such a messy split. At first, Jackie acted like a heartbroken wife, telling everyone she had no choice but to leave because Doug had betrayed her and disrespected their marriage. The media quickly jumped on the story, turning Doug into the villain. They accused him of being a bad husband, a liar, and a cheater. Almost immediately, the public sided with Jackie, believing her side of the story. But Doug wasn't going to stay quiet. He knew the truth, and he was ready to fight back. He was determined not to let Jackie paint him as the bad guy. It wasn't just about defending his money, it was about protecting his reputation. Doug had worked hard for his success, and he wasn't going to let Jackie's lies ruin everything he had built. What made this case even more shocking was that Doug had proof. He had gathered evidence that could completely change the outcome of the divorce. Jackie's lawyers had been confident they had all the evidence they needed to win. They had painted Doug as a selfish, ungrateful man who wouldn't be where he was without Jackie's support. She claimed she had sacrificed everything for Doug's success. Supporters of Jackie urged her to go after Doug, portraying him as the villain who deserved to lose it all. But Jackie had no idea what Doug had up his sleeve. While Jackie believed she was in control, Doug was quietly preparing for a major reveal. He wasn't just going to let her continue spreading lies. Doug had a team of investigators and lawyers, and they were ready to expose Jackie's secrets. When the time came, Doug's legal team presented documents that would change everything. The courtroom was filled with reporters, legal professionals, and onlookers, all waiting for Doug's next move. For weeks, Jackie had appeared confident, making sure everyone saw her as the victim while making Doug look like the bad guy. But now, Doug was ready to turn the tables. As Doug's lawyer approached the judge with a folder full of documents, everyone in the room held their breath. The judge began to read through the papers, and his expression shifted. He turned to Jackie's lawyers and asked, "Do you want to explain this?" The room fell silent, and Jackie whispered something to her attorney, her confidence slipping away. It was too late. Doug had just turned the case on its head. The documents revealed that Jackie had been hiding money. She had misrepresented her financial situation and had been dishonest in an attempt to make herself seem like the victim. Now, the woman who had accused Doug of deceiving her was facing her own lies. As the documents continued to unfold, it became clear that Jackie's actions might lead to serious legal consequences. This wasn't just a divorce case anymore, it was a potential financial fraud case. While Jackie had pretended to be broke, asking for a whopping $300 million, she had secretly transferred millions of dollars into hidden accounts. Doug's legal team presented this evidence, and the courtroom gasped in disbelief. Jackie's self-assured demeanor vanished in an instant. Most celebrity divorces are filled with drama, but this one was different. It had become a scandal. Jackie could lose the case, and worse, she might face criminal charges. The truth was finally out, and it was worse than anyone had imagined. Doug had known about Jackie's deceit the whole time. That's why he had stayed quiet, letting Jackie believe she was winning. Now, he was ready to reveal the final secret, the one that could destroy Jackie's carefully built reputation. Jackie's face went pale as she looked at the papers in front of her. Her hands shook, and her heart raced. Everyone in the room stared at her, but Doug wasn't done yet. He leaned forward and said, "Jackie, you've been lying about everything, not just the money." In a calm, yet firm voice, Doug continued, "You've been deceiving everyone, and now it's all coming to light." Jackie's lawyer, stunned by Doug's words, didn't know how to respond. But Jackie, clearly rattled, tried to fight back. "This is absurd," she exclaimed. "You're just trying to ruin me because you don't want to pay." Doug's attorney smiled coolly and presented a new set of documents to the judge. As the judge read through them, his eyes widened. Doug's lawyer spoke up, saying, "When you treat people badly, they don't stay loyal forever. Everyone who helped you set this up, including your assistant, has turned against you." The judge turned to Jackie and asked, "Do you have anything to say for yourself?" Jackie, now cornered, struggled to come up with an answer. She knew she had no way out. She was breathing heavily and sweating. Then, in a move no one had expected, she let out a cold, mocking laugh. "Do you really think I've lost because of this?" She sneered. "You don't know me, Doug. I always have a backup plan." Doug's eyes narrowed. "What are you talking about?" In a low, threatening tone, Jackie leaned forward and said, "Did you really think I didn't cover my tracks? I'm not going down alone. If I do, Doug, I know something about you that you don't want anyone to find out. I'll use it if I have to." Doug's attorney looked concerned but stayed composed. "Is that a threat?" he asked. Jackie smiled softly. "I know things about you, Doug. And if you push me too far, I'll make sure the world knows them." Doug remained calm. "I'm not afraid of you, Jackie," he said, his voice steady. The judge banged his gavel, calling for a brief recess. As people began to leave the courtroom, Jackie looked at her lawyer, Melissa, and sneered, "You'll be sorry for what you did." But Melissa stood her ground. "No, Jackie," she replied. "I'm sorry I stayed silent for so long. I should have told you sooner." Doug, meanwhile, knew this wasn't over. As the trial resumed, he was determined to win. This wasn't just about money anymore. It was about justice. The courtroom fell silent as Doug's lawyer spoke up. "Jackie's assets are frozen pending further investigation into financial fraud, and her request for alimony is rejected. The court will reconvene next week to discuss the legal ramifications of her actions." Jackie, now completely unraveling, stood up and shouted, "You can't do this to me. Please, let's talk. We can work this out." Doug gave her a cold stare. "We're done talking, Jackie," he said sharply. For the first time, Jackie realized she had lost. There was no way out. Her carefully crafted image had fallen apart. Her lies had been exposed, and now everyone could see the truth. Melissa, her former confidant, looked away, feeling guilty for not speaking up sooner. But it was too late. The damage was done. Doug walked out of the courtroom, his lawyer by his side. Jackie's fate was sealed, but the case wasn't over yet. Reporters rushed to Doug, asking questions, but he refused to comment. He didn't need to say anything, his silence spoke volumes. Jackie, meanwhile, found herself in a dangerous position. If she admitted to hiding money, she could face serious legal consequences. But if she denied it, there was already proof that she had lied. The more Doug's lawyer exposed, the worse it got for Jackie. Doug's attorney stood firm. Jackie deceived the system. She lied to gain sympathy while secretly protecting her wealth. As Jackie's world crumbled, the reporters documented every moment. Her carefully constructed public image collapsed in real time. Jackie had painted Doug as the villain, but now the truth was out, she was the one who had been deceiving everyone. The judge rubbed his temples in frustration. "I will need more time to consider all the evidence before making a final decision," he said. But Doug wasn't finished yet. "I have one more thing to say," Doug said, his voice cutting through the silence. The courtroom froze as Doug prepared to make his final statement. Jackie, who had once sat with confidence, was now trembling. Her breath was shallow, and her fingers clenched the edge of the table. Doug continued, "I've stayed quiet for years. I let you distort the facts and paint me in a bad light. But now it's time for the truth to come out." Before Jackie's lawyer could interrupt, Doug's attorney raised a hand. "Your Honor, we have voice recordings and emails that prove Jackie planned this whole thing from the beginning." The first recording played through the speakers, and Jackie's voice filled the room. "I'll make him pay for everything," she said. "He thinks he's smart, but he'll never see this coming." The screen then displayed an email Jackie had sent to her financial advisor months before the divorce was filed. It read, "Before I take him to court, we need to transfer the funds. I want to appear as though I have nothing. The worse I look, the stronger my case will be." There was stunned silence in the courtroom. Jackie's own words had ruined her case. The judge looked at her sternly. Do you understand the severity of this, Miss Christie? Jackie opened her mouth, but no words came out. She had been caught, and there was no way to talk her way out of it. Doug stood up, his voice steady. After everything you've put me through, dragging my name through the mud, lying to the world, trying to ruin my life, I had no choice but to handle this privately. Now, I'm asking for the immediate dismissal of this case and full damages for the financial and emotional harm you've caused me. The judge nodded slowly. Given the overwhelming evidence, I don't see any reason for this case to continue, he said. Turning to Jackie, he added, I advise you to prepare for the consequences of your actions. Jackie sat frozen, her face a mask of disbelief. Everything she had planned had come crashing down. Outside the courtroom, reporters were already spreading the news of Jackie's downfall. Doug, his name cleared, walked out with his lawyer, his face a picture of calm. The $300 million divorce case had collapsed, leaving Jackie with nothing but regret. Jackie's downfall continued to be the talk of the town, with news outlets and social media buzzing about the stunning turn of events. For weeks, she had been the face of the divorce battle, portraying herself as the victim, the wronged wife who had been betrayed by a selfish husband. But now, it was clear to everyone that the truth was far different from the story she had told. The evidence presented by Doug's legal team had been irrefutable, and it was undeniable that Jackie had orchestrated the entire situation to benefit herself. Doug, on the other hand, had remained calm throughout the entire ordeal. He had chosen not to retaliate publicly during the media frenzy, knowing that the truth would eventually come out. It was clear that he had been patient, silently waiting for the right moment to strike back. And when he did, it was with undeniable force. His carefully gathered evidence, including voice recordings and emails, had completely destroyed Jackie's narrative. As the public turned against Jackie, the pressure mounted. She had built her life and reputation on a series of lies, and now it was all falling apart. There was no way for her to escape the consequences of her actions. The legal ramifications of her behavior loomed large, and as the case continued, it became increasingly clear that she would face significant legal and financial repercussions. Doug, meanwhile, had his life and reputation restored. Though the battle had been long and exhausting, he could finally see the light at the end of the tunnel. The truth had won, and Jackie's manipulation had been exposed for all to see. In the end, Doug had not only defended his wealth but had also cleared his name. Jackie, who had once been in a position of power and confidence, was now left to face the consequences of her deceitful actions. She had underestimated Doug and, in the end, had only played herself. The public's perception of her had been forever tarnished, and her future looked uncertain as the legal battles ahead threatened to haunt her for years to come.